Scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Those poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Which side are
Happy Pride, gay wads.
Gay wads.
It's the month of being gay and doing gay stuff.
Truly, and I'm so happy to be gay and just do gay things.
I love it. I love my gayness. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Absolutely not.
What have you done that's gay?
I went to a pool or a little water party, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before, like Pride weekend.
Love.
With mostly gay people were there. At least a good portion were gay. And, there was a slip and slide. General merriment was going on.
Love general merriment.
I didn't catch Pride Without Police, unfortunately.
I know. I accidentally missed that as well. I realized. I was like, oh, whoopsies.
Yeah, there's just a lot to do on Saturday, but...
yeah, it was a busy day for me.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to do more gay things with my gay friends.
Me too. So. Yeah, we gotta... I would love to, do a little homies Pride Day.
Yeah.
Amongst the us.
Celebrate all of the queers.
Yeah. Really. I accidentally made Maddie's friend think that Maddie was bi when I was really just talking about myself.
Oh.
And then his friend literally messaged him because I said something about because it's a friend of his that we're friends now. We've met and we're friends now, and he's gay. And I was messaging him, joking around, being like, oh, it's really fucked up that you're not even visiting during Pride Month. Where did the gay bi solidarity even go? You don't even care about your bisexual best friend. Yeah. Joking around. He thought I was talking about Maddie, and he literally messaged Maddie and was like, hey, are you bi? And you never told me?
And you never told me?
and then he messaged me after sending that and was like, wait, who are you talking about? I'm like, me, girl. And he was like, oh. Well.
Yeah. So clearly Maddie was the straight friend he was in love with, because every gay man I know was in love with their straight best friend.
I'll have to ask him. I do know Maddie was a big lovely ally. This friend had come out.
Maybe it was just that, but
I mean, I would love to know though, because I know that this friend did come out to Maddie and only Maddie in high school or something, which I'm
sweet.
That's so wholesome that he knew that Maddie was the guy that he could tell.
Yeah, so
love
cute.
that.
Aww.
Yeah, and then I've just been thinking about boobies a whole lot.
As
That's
you should,
another gay thing I've been doing lately. Yeah.
Hell yeah, I know. I need to get pegged profusely this month, probably.
Yeah, put that on the schedule.
Yeah, jot that down. But yeah, do you want to know something crazy that happened?
Yes.
Also on Saturday, crazy day.
Yeah.
I'm driving to Petco to pick up some dog food, some litter for my kids.
Animals, your children, yes.
My birthed children.
Yep.
And I'm driving, and then I kind of up ahead of me see a guy fall off of a scooter.
Oh.
And then I drive by, and the guy's laying on the ground.
Oh my God.
And I see blood. I'm like, okay,
oh my
this
God.
is intense. So I pull over. A couple other people pull over. We run over there, and this dude's head is gushing blood.
Oh my God.
And some of the other guys grabbed someone else pulled over, had a first aid kit.
Oh, that's
so
good.
They started gauzing up and putting pressure on it. I call 911 and I'm we need paramedics here. Stat, this dude's
this guy
gushing blood,
cracked his head open.
And,
was it one of those goddamn Lime scooters?
I don't know if it. I think
or
it was
whatever electric.
It was an electric scooter, but I don't think it was rentable. I think it might have been
it was his own personal.
It didn't have a brand on it. But yeah, so yeah, I mean the paramedics arrived and
oh my God.
Obviously at that point there's nothing else we could do. But
was he conscious?
Yeah, he
okay,
got up and
that's good.
Seemed to be okay. I mean,
yeah.
One of the gals that was there that had the first aid kit was I overheard she was oh, I do this for a living. I don't know if she was a nurse or a CNA or something.
Aww.
But she was yeah, it was kind of insane.
Damn, dude. Once again, Taylor, I feel you are always just having these things happen to or around you that it's what?
Yeah, what? They just they attract. I don't know.
Jeez.
It's always in the right or the wrong place.
Right,
at the
however
time,
you want to see it, I guess. That's crazy, though. Yeah. And I'm so glad that everybody, like, rushed to his aid and that person had a first aid kit and was, like, seemed to know what they were doing with it.
It was, again, I was very...
heartwarming.
It was a heartwarming, the resilience of, the human public. Like,
exactly.
Just being there for some guy who fell,
Ouchie.
Like... Yeah, it was nice. But, yeah, I was... I've never had to actually call 911 before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I did it once when I was a kid because I thought it was funny, and then cops came, and they were like, you can't do that,
Right.
But I've never, I've been in an emergency situation where I needed to call them before.
Damn.
So
I almost had to call 911 on Sunday because I got into a car accident.
Yeah.
But then
everything was
one
fine.
of the people pulled over. Incident. Because then I was about to call, and then I'm like, can we just figure this out on our own, actually? And then an incident management person pulled up and called anyway. Yeah. And I was like, oh, we're already here.
Yeah, I guess we're here.
So, all right. Actually, I'm fine. By the way, everyone's fine. It was minor.
Yeah. I'm glad.
So,
I do take that. I don't think I was the one that called 911 in this case, but someone did call 911 when I got in that double rollover accident.
I mean, yeah, that's a 911 situation.
It was definitely a 911 situation, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, happy Pride.
Happy Pride. I'm feeling good. It's
the gays and the theys.
The gays, the days, the fucking slays.
The slays, yeah. It's true.
It's been great. It's been a pretty good, I mean, aside from fucking accident, but it's fine. It's as good as a car accident could go, thank God. And and everything else in the whole world. It's been a great month.
Yeah.
It's beautiful weather. That's nice.
Truly.
I went on a little weekend trip to Wyoming and did some beautiful nature things. That was cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely Pride.
Lovely Pride.
And Utah, they dropped the new city flag that's basically a pride flag because we banned pride flags in schools. So
yeah, we did do that.
That's one, I guess, Salt Lake W.
Sure, right. I know. I was like, Aaron, you did something.
You did something. For once.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I obviously we've done episodes about it. It goes without saying, but this is an anti-ICE podcast.
Absolutely.
And a pro-immigrant podcast, whether you're documented or not.
We support you.
We support you. We love you. We want you here.
Nobody's illegal.
Nobody is illegal. Borders are fake. This country is literally stolen anyway.
Imaginary lines.
And if you want to bring up Mexican immigrants in particular, this country used to be Mexico, or parts of it were, and then we took it and killed a bunch of people. So if you're mad about Mexicans being in America, it used to be Mexico. Also, I saw the very good point that lots of people were making, or just sort of comical in a not that comical way, where they were like, oh yes, I don't want to hear people speaking Spanish in Los Angeles or San Francisco. All of these cities that are literally Spanish names, which they speak in Mexico because they got colonized.
Yes.
Anyway, so that goes without fucking saying. I know that this is no shock to anyone listening to this show, but we support our immigrant friends.
We surely do.
And we want you here.
Yeah, we love that you're here. We love all of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a shout out to a shooting that happened on Saturday at a protest. It's there's some racist, fishy bullshit going on.
Yeah.
Arturo is innocent, did not fire his gun. I've posted quite a bit about it on my Instagram if you'd like to take a look. It's tlace_19 at Instagram. And I also posted, and I'm sure you can find, the GoFundMe for the family of Arthur Folasa Alu, who was the innocent bystander who was killed in the altercation.
Yep.
So if you have some disposable income, you can donate to that, or there's also a commissary fund for Arturo.
Both extremely tragic
Crazy.
situations. Arturo is an innocent man, and Arthur was a beloved community member who is now no longer with us because of a horrible, horrible incident. So
he was a designer on Project Runway.
He was, and he
crazy.
had designed outfits for some the Real Housewives and stuff.
Yeah.
I never knew him personally, and never really knew of him before now, but just been reading up, and it's a horrible, horrible shame. Lost a really amazing community member, also a member of, also a Pacific Islander who is a super important group here in Salt Lake City. If you want to support our Pacific Islanders, New Inua Collective is a great one to look into. My friend Jakey is a big part of New Inua Collective, who's an awesome person as well. So anyway, yeah, it's just horrible. It's really sad. I'm sure the family is not having an easy time right now. So if you can, donate to help them out. There is a GoFundMe, and I can't 100%. Even imagine what they're going through right now.
Yeah, but lots of things on the docket.
It's been an interesting weekend in Salt Lake City, but
it's wild. Please
stay safe, and please, when you are at protests, like, cover your tattoos, wear a mask, take it fucking seriously, whether it's a chill one or not. Like, things can change in an instant. Police can change their minds in an instant about what's going on. Please wear a mask. Like, to cover your features. Please cover your tattoos. Please cover your hair if it's interesting. Please wear, like, black bloc. Learn about black bloc. Do that. You know, frankly, at this point in our society, I think we should just be leaving our phones at home and not bringing them to protests. I know that that's scary and we need to use phones to contact each other, but, like,
have a meeting point.
Your phone is not your friend in this world. And for the love of fuck, and I thought this was something that we had learned, but apparently it's not, don't post photos of people's faces at protests ever.
Do not.
Ever. Frankly, don't post a fucking photo of a protest anywhere ever. Don't take photos at a protest. That's evidence to be used against you. Don't do that. That's stupid.
Yeah. Truly. And also just be safe. Drink water. It's fucking hot out there.
It's 0 degrees. Yeah, drink a ton of water. Bring snacks.
Yeah. Support each other.
Yep.
You know, mutual aid, all that jazz. We love all y'all.
Yep. Look out for each other.
Yeah. The usual, the norms.
Yep. Community. Remember it. Appreciate it.
And also
participate.
Shout out to Maddie for bringing us beers.
Shout out to Maddie for bringing us some beverage. You did it.
You found them.
My God.
I think this could be a new segment where I bring
No, I think it is. Come in.
I bring a different drink to each podcast, and then the hosts pick which one they like the best.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Especially silly combo.
Okay. Bring them over. This is my new favorite. Okay, we've got...
The first one is the line in Google's Juicy Peach. This is very summary for our hosts.
I would say so.
I thought this would, like, really lighten the spirits, enhance the sun.
So true.
Peach is
really,
like...
really feel it.
Yeah.
Peaches are kind of like butt adjacent, which I feel like we could like wrap into the Pride Month theme of it all.
And ass adjacent.
Yeah, it's very ass adjacent.
Yeah.
But then my second one, y'all haven't had this one before.
I don't think I...
And I was a little... taken aback by like if I should do this or not, because I feel like I bought the frat boy drink of the summer.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna show you guys here.
Okay. I mean, we could frat out a little, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, we're allowed. Oh shit! Two-turnt tea.
Two-turnt tea.
The two-turnt tea.
I mean,
brought to you by.
Oh my God! Brought to you by 4 white dudes. Well, I would say no. He's going to be Italian because his name is Tony. I was going to say 3 white dudes and 1 like slightly racially ambiguous, but I'm guessing he's just Italian. Brought to you by
Two-turnt Tony.
Yeah, two-turnt Tony, Rich, Alex, and Galen. Created by 3 college best friends. And Two-turnt Tony.
Yeah.
He just is there for some reason.
This is not sponsored by Two-turnt Tony.
It's not, but it's here, and this is like. This actually might be my drink of the summer, just for like how fucking this is the most. I'm gonna have to post a picture on that.
It's literally like buy frats for frats.
Exactly.
You know?
You couldn't have said it better.
When you see a box like this, of Two-turnt Tony,
you gotta buy it.
Don't not buy it.
Yeah, you have to.
I just handed them my wallet.
Their slogan right here says "Better boozing since 2019,"
and that's
fucking
true. And that's
fucking
true.
Wow.
Fucking A.
Thanks, Maddie.
I want to try.
I'm gonna let the hosts decide.
I'm gonna start with the line in Google because that sounds
those,
great.
I'm getting two-turnt.
You're getting two-turnt. Two-turnt.
Two-turnt for Tony. Yeah, dude. Let's go.
I think I made the right call.
All right. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Ooh, that's good.
How's Tony?
Tony's good.
Really?
I like it.
Fuck yeah.
I love it. I love an alcoholic tea though. I've always
Yes,
Twisted Tea's my fucking
you
jam.
are historically very into that.
I just love a tea.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? For sure. My father's from Texas, so I feel like sweet tea's in my blood.
It is, it's your heritage. Well, should we fucking get into it?
I think we should.
All right. What are we talking about? What's our theme? If you haven't already guessed it, listeners.
Talking about the fucking gays, dude.
We're talking about gay shit, you guys.
Gay shit, yeah.
And I would say, mine is pretty gay shit in particular.
Yeah, yours is extra gay.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has to do with the gay guys specifically.
Oh. See, that's interesting. I'm not gonna expose any.
Yeah,
of my
you
article,
save yours until it's your turn.
Mine's a little bit, I guess, on the like more sad side of town.
Oh, I mean, mine's also kind of sad.
It happens.
Yeah. I mean,
the sordid history of the gays.
yeah.
But
I was like thinking about trying to find like a happy story, but it turns out it's kind of hard.
Well, and I think last year I did like Emma Golding, who was like a very early ally to the gay men.
And I think I talked about like, I told some nice story I want to say last year. I think I did.
It's our year to tell
listeners.
Depressing gay stories.
Exactly.
Because the year before was Ray Cohn, I think.
Oh, yeah, Roy Cohn.
Yeah.
Woof.
But it's, listen, we got to alternate.
Yeah. We got to lift you up. We got to bring you down.
Yeah, it happens. You got to know where you came from. But anyway.
Well, today, folks, my article is called "This State Looks Down on Sodomy." Taylor.
True.
Are you familiar with the 1999 Blink-182 song, What's My Age Again?
Oh, I am familiar with What's My Age
every
Again.
single one of us, at least in America, if not on the planet, are familiar with this song.
Because who didn't use the joke that when they turn 23 that like, oh, no one likes me?
Exactly.
I can't be liked for a year.
Posted that on my 23rd birthday.
Yeah, I think you have to.
It's like a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage
yeah.
for turning 23.
Yeah, it's like when it's like in like ancient tribes where you would like have to drink the blood of a kill or something.
Right, whatever their rituals.
That probably didn't actually exist, but
no, but like whatever, some coming of age ritual. But yes, now in the modern time, when you turn 23, you must make a joke about this song.
Yeah.
And in this song, there's a line that reads, "Then later on the drive home, I called her mom from a payphone. I said I was the cops, and your husband's in jail. This state looks down on sodomy." You may be wondering, do states really have laws against sodomy?
Oh, I'm certain.
What the hell is up with that? You may be wondering, what the hell even is sodomy, according to the law?
Term that's used as much anymore.
No, which well, we'll get into it, but it's Bible-y. But before I get into all that, I have another question.
Yes.
Taylor, are you familiar with anal and oral sex?
I have dabbled in the anal and the oral sex.
Right.
Yes,
you've heard of it.
I've heard of it. I'm interested in it. You call me anal curious. Heard of the P-spot. Sounds really cool.
Right. Yeah, this is all so new to you.
Could be a really great name for like a gay bar, I feel. Why is the P-spot not a gay bar?
Literally, and why is there not a lesbian bar next door called the G-spot?
That's what I'm saying. Come on.
Is it up to us?
Yeah, do we have to do everything?
Is it going to be up to us? Anyway, I'm sure our listeners know a bit about our sexual history because we talk about it a lot on the show, turns out.
True.
Probably too much. Whatever, you guys like it. Do you believe, Taylor, that the government should have laws around what type of sex two or more, wink, consenting adults should legally be able to have in the comfort of their own bedroom?
I tend to lean no because, aren't we like founded on freedom?
And I want to press that I did say in the sentence, consenting
yes,
adults.
I presume, yes, of course.
In the comfort of their own bedroom.
Yes.
Should the government be able to have laws around what is and isn't allowed in that type of situation?
Again, I'm gonna brave bold stance on the podcast. I'm gonna say no.
That is very brave and bold of you. I would also agree. The United States law defines sodomy as, quote, any sexual act involving the sex organs of one person and the mouth or anus of another.
Oh,
really
okay.
Hot, sexy way to describe that.
Yeah, really, clinical.
I'm like really riled up right now.
I'm hot and bothered.
Getting excited to I'm like, what? I'm like curious about this sodomy stuff.
Sexual organ do you have there?
Yeah.
That you could put around my anus.
Can I put my mouth or anus around it?
No, for sure. See, and that's interesting, because I guess, again, it's like that weird plausible deniability the state always has, where they're like, hey, we're just saying you can't do the butt stuff and the mouth stuff.
Right.
We're not saying it's just for the gays.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
It always turns out to just be for the gays.
Exactly. Sodomy laws date back to American colonial times and were a part of British common law. Sodomy was originally just defined as penetrative anal sex and was criminalized because it was, quote, a crime against nature.
Yes, of course.
Since anal sex could not be used to procreate.
I love, and I'm so sorry.
No, listen, it's going to be,
but
yes.
I love that the British Empire was going and basically enslaving, pillaging countless cultures across the globe.
Yep.
And
most likely raping as well, because when do those things not go hand in hand?
Killing countless people, making so many people suffer.
Kidnapping, enslaving.
Yes. And they're like, well, putting things in your ass is really against nature.
Right, exactly. When there's literally gay lions and shit who do butt sex.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
it's pretty common.
Seen the videos, Google it.
Through all of
pretty cool,
history. It's kind of pretty rad.
Fun, actually. So these laws weren't necessarily homophobic at the beginning of their inception, and they were more so part of the religious-based British laws. Not based, by the way. I don't mean based based. I mean they're based on religion. Trust, these laws were not based. They were cringe as fuck. And the religious-based British laws that also made illegal things like bigamy, adultery, the creation and dissemination of obscene literature, incest, and public indecency. So this was more sort of the oh dear God, kind of pearl clutchy, they just were this, I mean, they were Catholic fucking Christian, Puritan bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, sorry to harken back.
I mean, listen,
when we've talked about Oscar Wilde.
Exactly.
And he was going to prison on multiple offenses, but one of his things was the picture of Dorian Gray was too scandalous.
Exactly.
It was,
exactly.
Two men who have affection for each other. Ye gads,
Right.
Yeah.
So this was sort of I think it wasn't necessarily targeting gay people, or gay men more specifically, but I think it was just the idea of anything aside from really boring, shitty missionary in order to get a woman super duper pregnant was sure. Not chill.
Yeah.
So these were all laws that were meant to, quote, protect public morals and decency.
Of course.
So again, pearl clutchy. At this time, sodomy could be punishable by death.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whew.
As well as, I didn't write this part down, but as well as in cases of rape, including sodomy, the victim could be punished, killed by the state as well, which is huh?
Yeah, of course.
Why do you even?
It's just,
I know. I mean, it doesn't. It's colonialism. It doesn't make any fucking sense anyway. But.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's they had they had children working in workhouses,
right?
And
2-year-olds.
There was 4 people that were mega rich, the aristocracy, and everybody else was suffering, and they were oh. And then the rich people were gross butts. Right,
exactly. Ew, butt sex? As America entered the 20th century, sodomy laws became more targeted. In the 1950s, McCarthyism, which we've talked about on here before, allowed for sodomy laws to be used as an outright witch hunt for homosexuals, using the language of the time. This is also when oral sex was added as part of the sodomy laws. With America's expanding urban centers, more gay men had the opportunity to meet each other, and for their own safety, they would often use public spaces where it would be normal for two men to enter together. So say, like, a men's public restroom, because if there was two dudes going into, like, someone's apartment late at night, obviously that's kind of sus. It looked suspect. And people were, like, fucking crazy hating gay people at this time. So if you did anything even slightly, if you, like, walked next to a guy too close, people were like, you're gay.
Whoa, dude.
So anyway, it was pretty common for men to hook up in public bathrooms, and especially, of course, at like a gay club or that kind of thing, because it would be normal for two men to be walking into a bathroom and being in a bathroom together, and you wouldn't get questioned why you were in the bathroom together, most likely. I just lost my place because I was talking about sucking dick in a bathroom too much.
Yeah. Which... we've all been
there.
Here
it is. Anyway, so they would be using, say, a men's public restroom to hook up. These men would unfortunately be found out, and that led to the addition of oral sex to the criminalization of sodomy. Also because, like, you're in a bathroom stall, it's easier to just, like, suck the dick,
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room in there.
Yeah, and it's kind of gross. Like.
Right, you're, like, trying to in and out.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I feel like I'm being too jokey about this. It was around this time as well that the idea that gay men were molesting children began to catch fire.
The age-old tale.
Yeah, classic. Still there. Still hanging around.
Crazy.
Still
actually,
not going away.
The amount of people who think that gay men molest children and also were molested as children, and that's why they're gay.
Classic.
Is unfathomable to me. That, like, there's so many people that are like, well, he's gay, so he obviously was sexually abused. And it's like, what is this, fucking 1950? Like,
no, I know. I had a gay guy tell me one time that, well, of course he said lesbians. He didn't say sapphic women, but I knew he meant, like, any of them. Are only, like, he was basically using that same logic, but just for, like, sapphic women. And I was like, are you not? Pick up a book, brother. You're using the exact same...
Yeah.
It's like 1960s Reddit. What are you doing here? Anyway, I was like, okay, we're done with this. Anyway, I'm walking away from you now. Anywho. In the original colonial sodomy laws, some language was used that specified children being used in the act of sodomy, which, like, any sexual act towards a child should be persecuted. That's wrong. But of course,
the one thing everybody can be like, the state should not allow that.
Right. But of course, bigots clung onto that language and associated, sodomy with gay men. And then they used it to persecute consenting adult gay men, even if it was like two adult men having consensual sex with each other. They still used this as like, well, they're molesting children or they're trying to get children.
Yeah, of course.
In the 1960s, it was an uproarious time for all of America. The civil rights movement was raging on. The government was terrified of communism. And in the current of all of this was the fight for LGBT rights. And this, of course, ramped up the use of sodomy laws to target LGBT people and mainly gay men. Because also, I feel like in the eyes of, like, gay men were, like, the only thing that kind of existed back then.
Yeah, like, they weren't...
In people's, like, sphere, you know? They didn't, like, acknowledge that, like, lesbians were real or whatever.
Women can't like each other.
Exactly.
It's only these disgusting, filthy men who can't control their wieners. Yeah.
Anyway, I say we take a little break and think about our favorite gay guys.
Yeah. Who would you say is up there for your favorite gay?
Well, probably you.
Oh.
Justin.
Love it, Justin.
My favorite, like, public gay, though.
Yeah, public gay.
Oh, God, you know who I miss? Why can't I remember his last name? Leslie...
Oh.
I feel bad that I'm Googling Leslie gay guy to remember this guy's name. Leslie Jordan, the very sweet older gay guy who was, like, posting all these adorable friggin'... Mm-hmm. He was on Will and Grace, obviously. That's what he's known for. But he was posting, like, the cutest little stories during quarantine times. So maybe in my brain that I could come up with right now as my favorite gay that I didn't personally know.
Yeah, you know who I feel like, and maybe this is a hot take of mine, but
okay.
when they came out as a gay, I remember like it was just like a big moment for me was Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh yeah.
Because I was always like, I don't know, it was like a big moment because everybody always thought he was like this like crazy womanizer guy.
I know, because he played like that kind of a character on the show he was on.
How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, that's right.
And I don't know if I'd say he's my like favorite gay person.
Sure,
like,
I mean I don't.
He's just like a white guy, but like
yeah. I remember that too, though. Yeah. I remember that being.
But I remember that moment and being like, whoa, like this is like it made a lot of people think. I feel like. You know?
I agree. You know who might be one of my favorite gay people who I literally like feel older sisterly towards, Lil Nas X.
Yeah, I know.
Did you ever watch his documentary? I think it's just called Montero or Montero Forever or something.
Yeah, I think I did. I definitely at least saw parts of it.
Like he's just so sweet, and he's like working so hard. He's so passionate about what he does, and like I just want to squeeze him and be like, we're so proud of you. Like we're so proud of you. Cheeks. You're like doing the coolest work of all time. You're so talented. Your visuals are amazing. Like you're giving what needs to be given, and you're like brave to be coming out of the closet, and here you are and you're embracing it and you're making like the sickest, most awesome gay rap music ever. Okay. Anyway, we have to take a break now.
Tyler the Creator as well, I think, is an honorable mention.
Tyler as well. And Frank.
Yeah, and of course Frank, yeah. Our bi. Is Frank bi?
He's bi.
Yeah, our bi kings.
I think Tyler's bi as well.
Tyler's definitely, I feel like definitely bi, but anyway.
Break. Get too excited talking about gay guys. Maddie, who's your favorite gay person? Come here, close, like close.
My favorite gay person?
Right here. Like right.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Hello, it's me, Maddie. Yeah, I really got put in the spot here. I'm going to give a big shout out to Adam Wallen, my number one best gay boy.
Yay.
I love him. He's my man. But if we're talking about celebs.
Yeah, like famous gay person.
I'm going Chapel, dude.
Yeah.
That hits every fucking time.
Yep.
Yeah.
That kind of music like hits even to a little straight boy like me. Like,
I love that.
It fucking hits. Like
Maddie would dance at the Pink Pony Club.
I'm driving home from the goddamn job site with the boys in the back, and we're hitting Pink Pony.
Also, that's Maddie's blasting the Wicked soundtrack at work, so
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Is anyone from the Wicked soundtrack gay?
Cynthia Erivo is a lesbian.
Yeah.
Is she really?
Yes.
Oh, then
full
Then I retract. Like, then she's
Cynthia.
Number one.
Cynthia.
My girl. Then.
Honestly, Cynthia might be my favorite gay person.
100%
She's
les,
so 100% les. 100% awesome.
Movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
She's my favorite gay girl.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
She rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Her voice is uncomparable.
I didn't know that.
Incomparable.
That's so sick.
Yeah, she's lesbian. Married to a lady.
Love it.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
If you hear this, invite me to your 50th anniversary. That'd be sick.
We will be there.
Yeah.
We'll be expecting the invitations.
Yep.
And we will bring lots of booze.
Yeah, we'll bring whatever you fucking
we'll bring
want.
the lining
Cynthia Erivo.
No, I'm only bringing these bro iced teas.
to the lesbian wedding anniversary
2-turn
celebration.
teas, of course.
I'm gonna get thrown out like before the door.
So like the greatest. I was being covert, but I will now admit that it was Adam Walton. I was telling the story about how I made a joke about like bisexual best friend, and Adam thought that I was talking about you, and then he asked you if you were bisexual.
LMAO.
Which is so cute.
He did.
Well,
so cute and funny.
He dropped it in like all caps. He's like, "Yo, dude, what are you talking about?" Like, he's like, "Are you fucking bi,
Are you
dude?"
bi?
So funny. Do you think, because I was telling Phoebe, and it's
I wish I was bi.
relatively universal experience that I found with gay men and bi men, is that like they had a best friend growing up that they were absolutely in love with, like usually a straight best friend, but they were just like uncontrollably like unequivocally in love with. Do you think that you were Adam's love, like he was in love with you?
Goodness. I never thought about this until just now. I'm gonna tell you something that I've never told anyone.
Is this okay to say?
I hope so. Adam was like adamantly
here.
Like pretending to be. I don't know how to even say that.
Well, yeah, he was in the closet.
He was in the closet.
Yeah, right. And I was like his best ally. I was like, Adam Wallen, my boy, we fuck chicks, dude. Like, we do everything together. Like,
you were like covering for him.
I'll do anything.
That's
I had
so
his back
sweet.
a billion.
That's so sweet. You're like, no, I've seen him fuck a chick
You're
before.
like his straight beard, yeah.
Yes, straight beard.
I was like, no one's ever getting near my boy.
The chicks are lining up at his door.
And he's like, meanwhile, I'm gonna go hang out with a girls' party tonight. I'm like, sick,
have
bro.
fun.
Good job.
Love you.
No, I had his back till the very.
That's
the
so
very,
cute. That's so funny.
Of coming out. But that's what you do to your friends, man.
Well, yeah,
like,
exactly.
He was just
Of
like my
course.
absolute
Yeah, you're
go-to
like,
boy.
you're like, no, he gets pussy.
He obviously, dude.
No, it was sick. Adam was
Yeah.
my first super duper gay ally, and dude,
Yeah, we love that
Forever.
guy. Love you, Adam, if you're listening.
shout out.
Cute. Yeah.
A special shout out on the Pride episode.
I had a friend in high school. His name was Quinn. We did absolutely everything together.
You were in love with him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even realize it until later
Taylor?
on.
I mean, it's the same for the gay girls. Mm-hmm. I had the exact same experience where I was basically dating this, not girl anymore, but basically dating this person. And then many years later, I looked back and I was like, oh, we were like girlfriends, I think. Actually, just like neither of us
we were
acknowledged.
like sleeping in the same bed every night. Like,
we were making out and kissing!
yeah.
My friend would drop me off from school because we would drive together. My friend would drop me off from school and we would kiss each other goodbye. And we're like, just pal.
Just girlies.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a universal like experience for gay people, I think.
It happens.
It's like
It happens.
you have this, well, for the gay girls, it's like you're both into each other and you're probably dating, but you like don't connect to the fact that you're both just gay. And I feel like for gay guys, it's like you have this unrequited love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True, because it's like you can never like do anything about it. You can never like take it to the next level.
Because girls can.
Yeah, and girls.
It's more forgiving.
Fluid.
Because
It's
women are
fluid.
like a little more, I don't know, like we can like be more cuddly and touchy and like,
Mm-hmm.
and even kiss sometimes. And it's like, oh, tee hee hee kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But yeah,
Versus
it's like-
dudes cannot be doing that
No,
kind of
you
thing.
could not do that, or it would be very much like you would be ostracized immediately. Yeah. But anyway, back to
sodomy. So, as I was saying, it's the 1960s. There's all this stuff going on. Gay people are trying to have rights at all. And, of course, then this was used to... The sodomy laws were pushed to target
Of course.
gay men even harder than they were before. Some movement had been made in the repealing or changing of sodomy laws, and this is a quote from the AMA Journal of Ethics, and this describes this journey. Quote, in 1955, the American Law Institute voted to decriminalize consensual sodomy, and the MPC subsequently did not include such laws in its statutory language. During the 1960s and 1970s, the United States Supreme Court established that, within the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, there exists a right to privacy that prevents states from interfering with people's control of their own bodies, disrupting personal relationships, and intruding into the innermost sanctum of the home, the bedroom.
Yeah.
Which, like,
You almost
Yeah, dog.
think that they would have that same mentality towards women's bodily autonomy and to use contraceptives. And
yes. Well,
You would think.
Interestingly enough, this ruling had also led to freedom for married couples, of course not unmarried, but for married couples to be using contraception, to allow more access for contraception, and to allow more access for abortion. Once this went through, then those laws sort of loosened up as an effect of this, which was great.
I feel like I remember reading about that in our abortion episode.
Yes.
'Cause I think I did a history of abortion, and you were talking
think you
about some of
did.
the current stuff that was going on.
Exactly. Of course, now that's, not happening anymore. But thanks, gay people, for making that happen back in the 1960s and such.
True.
Surprisingly enough, Louisiana would be the first state to reject sodomy laws in 1961. Literally, shocker there.
Wow.
Followed by Connecticut in 1971 and 19 other states soon after that. And it wouldn't be until 1975 that California, of all states, would vote to repeal their sodomy laws.
True.
Which, like, it's funny you think California is this, like, liberal state, but there is
Yeah.
it's actually fairly like
the cities are liberal, but there's a whole lot of California, and most of it's not cities, you know.
Let me tell you, I've been in some parts of California. As many of you know, I have family sprinkled throughout the Sunshine State, so I've been all over there. Surprisingly enough, there are parts of California that I'm like, I do not belong here. And I'm a white person, and I feel weird right now.
Yeah, like Redmond. That's like NoCal, like small town vibes, I think.
Yeah, and there's just like some like more kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know, like law enforcement-y like towns where there's just like a lot of like, you know, law enforcement-y people live in that area or whatever. Or just like certain areas of California that are like pretty conservative, and it's like you'll see like the only tattoos that girls have is like a little cross on their wrist or something.
Of course.
And it's like me coming in there and I'm like, hey.
Hey.
Anyway, very
Same
funny.
with like
I'm walking
Oregon.
around the Ralphs and I'm like, oh, everybody's looking at me.
Same with Oregon and like fucking Washington. A lot of those states over there are like,
It's
they have their
true.
little like their hub, you know, like Portland, Seattle, but yeah, the rural areas around are very conservative.
Amen.
Anyway,
the 1980s, however, would be a turning point for LGBT rights and changes in sodomy laws. However, Georgia, as you know, I mean, of course, there's the AIDS crisis, all of these things, but you know, there was huge movements in LGBTQ rights. And a lot of like work towards getting LGBTQ rights. However, Georgia still held some of the strictest sodomy laws, and they went so far as to prohibit married heterosexual couples from engaging in anal sex.
that's crazy.
They were really, really worried about people doing butt stuff. Like
Yeah.
really worried about it.
They were like, yeah, and which again is wild because it's like, man, when it's extending to the straight people, like they really,
You know it's bad.
You know it's bad. Like they really do not want people doing gay shit,
Right? And I'm like, Georgia, it's chill. Let her put a finger up there. Like,
It's
just
so
try
fine,
it. Just
yeah.
try
Just
it.
try
and then maybe
it.
you'll change your mind on these laws.
I wonder if they were just like, if Georgia, the Georgia politicians were like, you know, these dudes are gonna start having anal sex with their wives, and next thing you know it, they're with fucking Ralph in the back of Chuck's
Exactly.
saloon.
Exactly.
You know,
like, we can't let them know about buttholes at all.
Yeah, no, buttholes are off limits.
Off limits. So enter the case of Bowers v. Hardwick in 1986. Michael Hardwick was a 29-year-old bartender working at a gay bar in Atlanta. As he was leaving work one night, he was targeted by a homophobic police officer who saw him throwing away an empty beer bottle in an outdoor garbage can, which I'm assuming he was like cleaning up after work doing that.
Yeah, I would
right?
assume
He
if you're a
works at a bar.
bartender, you're throwing
He's
a beer
throwing away
bottle,
the
yeah.
trash.
Okay.
The officer, Keith Torek, charged him with public drinking, which, yeah, clearly
Okay.
targeting.
Yeah.
Michael was issued a ticket and told to show up in court. However, the court date was written incorrectly on the ticket, and Michael missed his court date, resulting in a warrant being issued for his arrest. Whether or not it was purposefully written wrong is up to debate. I'm not saying anything here, but I'm just, you know, just saying, like, let's maybe think about that.
I think I'll come out and say it was written incorrectly.
It might have been purposefully
I think
written
it was-
incorrectly, yeah.
I think looking at the entirety of the situation,
Exactly.
it's a little fishy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, this police officer is like camping outside of a gay bar, just like
Yeah.
frothing at the mouth, waiting
literally
for something to happen.
chomping. Yeah.
Chomping at the bit, so to
Yeah.
speak. Torek, so later, I don't know how much later, it never told me in the article I was reading, but later, probably days, Torek entered Michael's unlocked apartment and entered the bedroom where Michael was having oral sex with another man. Unsurprisingly, both men were arrested on charges of sodomy. I just had to take a pause because I'm like, you
walked into
like, yes, I guess not technically broken because the door is unlocked, but I mean that still I feel like counts as, I guess not breaking
Yeah.
and entering, but unlawfully entering
yeah.
an apartment and then opened and went into the bedroom
Yeah.
after probably hearing some fun sounds in there. Anyway, at the time, Georgia law specified that sodomy must be punished by, quote, imprisonment for not less than 1 nor more than 20 years. So anywhere from
1 to 20
to
years.
19 years.
Oh my god. Okay.
Or 20, I guess. Yeah, no more than 20.
Yeah.
I went to jail for 20 years for butt sex.
For fucking a blow
or blowy.
job.
A blowy, actually.
A
and
slow blowy got me 20
slowy
years.
Blowy?
Dog.
During the initial court proceedings, it was found that according to the previous Supreme Court rulings that I had talked about in the last case, that Michael's case fell under private and intimate association that is beyond the reach of state regulation by reason of the Ninth Amendment and the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. I know that's very wordy, but it was that whole thing I was just saying where, they were saying the innermost sanctum of the home, personal relationships,
bedroom,
that, and the other. The Georgia Attorney General disagreed with this ruling, citing other sodomy court cases at the time where the men were found guilty. So as a result, this case was sent to the Supreme Court following this. After much deliberation, the Supreme Court held that the Georgia sodomy laws were not unconstitutional based on the fact that states had had sodomy laws since the founding of the nation and were, quote, deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition.
Fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah. And therefore, homosexual sodomy was not a right. Because we all
insane.
know that the nation of fucking America existed before people were having gay sex.
Of course, obviously. Fucking deeply rooted my ass. Fucking gotta be deeply rooted in
this
someone's
ass.
Yeah. Dude, if fucking a slow blowy is illegal, then fucking cuff me now, dude.
Yeah,
cuff me now.
Throw me in the fucking jail cell because
Oh god.
This is going really well.
I think it's going great.
I love it. It wouldn't be until 17 years later that the U.S. Supreme Court would address sodomy laws again. So, bring us to, in 1998, in Harris County, Texas, 3 gay men were spending the day together. John Lawrence, Tyrone Garner, and Robert Eubanks. Robert and Tyrone were in a rocky relationship that had reached a head that evening. Robert and Tyrone got in a drunken argument over whether both or only one of them would stay and sleep over at John's apartment that evening, which caused Robert to storm out of the apartment. Later, the Harris County Sheriff's Department got a call reporting a, quote, black man going crazy with a gun in John's apartment, which was Tyrone. So Tyrone stays at John's apartment. Robert gets pissed. He leaves. And then somebody calls and says that there's a black man going crazy with a gun in John's apartment. Tyrone is a black man.
Yeah.
We don't know what that part is.
Who that was.
That we never found out who called. We never found out whether Tyrone ever had a gun. However, sheriff deputies entered John's apartment, which was also unlocked. And they just walked right in and entered a bedroom where John and Tyrone were allegedly having sex. The 2 men were arrested under a Texas sodomy law that stated, quote, a person commits an offense if he engages in deviant sexual intercourse with another individual of the same sex, with deviant sexual intercourse defined as any contact between any part of the genitals of one person and the mouth or anus of another person, or the penetration of the genitals or the anus of another person with an object. And I just wanted to put that in there because the use of the word deviant is
it's historically been used as sexual deviancy being just again,
gay.
as you said, 2 consenting adults who
exactly
are in the privacy of their own home.
Exactly. And once again, it's not lost on me that these officers are entering, sure, the door's unlocked, but they're just walking in and then going into your bedroom. Well, I'm sure that they it's not. Sex is not always all that quiet, you know. I'm sure they could hear what was going on. So they walked in purposefully, to arrest these people on charges of sodomy. In their initial trial, John and Tyrone both pled no contest to their charges. So this means that they admitted to the facts of the charges that, yes, they were 2 men having sex in a private home, but they did not admit legal guilt. Basically saying this allowed for them to challenge these sodomy laws that they felt were not correct. So they're saying, we did what they're saying, but I'm not feeling guilty in this situation because I don't believe that this is a guilty or an innocent. It shouldn't even be a law is what they're saying, basically. This case made it all the way to the Supreme Court after petitioners, quote, asserted that the Texas law policed citizens' homes, intruding into their most intimate and private physical behavior and dictating with whom they may share a profound part of their adulthood. And it is interesting with Texas being like, tends to be a bit of like an anti-government sort of state in like a weird way where they're very right? like they're kind of like hands off my whatever and like
don't tread on me.
Don't tread on me, don't tell me what to do. So it is interesting with this case going down in Texas. They sort of had not an upper hand, but it almost was like they could play into this piece of it, you know what I mean, where Texas tends to be more of a like government have your hands off kind of state. And so this began the 2003 case of Lawrence v. Texas. And I'm going to quote again from the AMA Journal of Ethics about this case. They just reviewed it very well, and I want to just say it correctly. Quote, after reviewing the court's understanding of the basis of the fundamental right to privacy, Justice Kennedy, who was the judge at the time, turns attention to how the sodomy statutes in both Bowers, which is the last case I was talking about, and the present case sought to control a personal relationship that, whether or not entitled to formal recognition in the law, is within the liberty of persons to choose without being punished as criminals. The court characterized laws aimed at same-sex couples as motivated by animus towards homosexuals that arose from religious and moral condemnation. Despite the importance of these beliefs to some, Kennedy argued, they should not be applied to the whole of society. He wrote, Bowers was not correct when it was decided, and it is not correct today. It ought to remain binding precedent. It ought not to remain binding precedent. Bowers v. Hardwick should be and now is overruled. End of quote.
Wow.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah.
The trial resulted in the U.S. Supreme Court ruling that sodomy laws are unconstitutional and should be struck down. So that was as of 2003. Mm-hmm. However, 13 states as of 2020 still retain sodomy laws, and arrests had been made under these laws. According to Pink News, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Kansas, Kentucky, Texas, and South Carolina still had these sodomy laws. And in Kansas, Kentucky, and Texas, the laws solely target same-sex activity.
Crazy.
From 2011 to 2013 in Baton Rouge, undercover police officers were targeting gay men and arresting them under sodomy laws. 12 men were arrested in Baton Rouge during this time. So there was these undercover cops that were like kind of seducing gay men in order to arrest them for sodomy laws. Which is... in the years of our Lord, 2011 to 2013.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's like... that, I don't know. I mean, I'm no fucking lawyer, but like that feels like entrapment. That feels like if you're gonna go in there and seduce gay men into wanting to have sex. Exactly. It's like you are. I don't know.
That feels like you're entrapping me.
Yeah. Fuck.
In 2015, also in Baton Rouge, 2 men were arrested for having sex in the backseat of a car. They were charged with trespassing, but also charged with quote crimes against nature.
Our classic.
As part of Louisiana's sodomy laws. And even though these cases would never hold up under the Supreme Court, Louisiana and the other 13 states still continue to prosecute under these laws. The Baton Rouge police were made to apologize for this arrest, and the, quote, crime against nature charge was dropped. All of these cases were thrown out by judges, but it goes to show how far law enforcement was willing to go to persecute LGBT people, especially on these, like, literally ancient law, like biblical bullshit laws. I mean, the term sodomy comes from the Bible thing about Sodom and Gomorrah. And unfortunately, we still have a very far way to go due to the second Trump presidency and America's continued turn toward the right, or just all-out fascism, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. LGBT people, especially transgender people, are still in extreme danger legally and from civilians as well. And I think our only choice is to just work together as a community to protect and uplift each other. Our focus has to be on mutual aid, collaboration, and connection as a community, and most of all, protection. We really have to stop, like, cherry picking who is and isn't allowed to be in part of this community. I think the only part that matters here is if you are on the fringes of society at all, you're in danger. So let's like hold hands and get together here.
I agree. And there's just so much like fuck you got mine, especially with like
Exactly.
gay white men.
Yep.
That it's so frustrating to me because I'm like, that once it's, first it's trans people
Exactly.
and then it's fucking everybody else.
Exactly. Like you've secured a spot for yourself that's safe right now, and I understand where that's coming from, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. It's not going to matter because like they don't actually care. They're not like, these people are not chill with you being gay. They're chill that you're palpable.
Yeah.
And
They can
yeah,
handle it.
when like this becomes unpalpable, or sorry, not palpable, palatable. When this becomes unpalatable, you're not secure anymore.
Yeah. And again, it's like they'll turn on you in a fucking
In an instant.
second.
In an instant.
Yeah. It's true. No, that's fucking crazy. And
It's crazy.
outdated sodomy laws. I think it's like, it wasn't sodomy, but it was like, I don't know, probably at this point, like 10, maybe even 10 years ago, but it was like surprisingly recently that Utah like made sex between unmarried couples legal. Like, it wasn't like illegal to do.
Yeah, it was like technically not legal in Utah. I remember that.
It's crazy.
Right?
That,
And it's like, I mean, there's that whole website that's about like, oh, these funny old law or like goofy weird laws that are like sticking around because like some guy named Jim was riding a horse in Tennessee while eating a ice cream cone, and then he killed someone, or whatever. Do you remember that like old website?
That website.
But it's like, but then you have this other flip side to it where it's like, yeah, this is this super old law that like probably people in, these days are not going to get in trouble for having like out of wedlock sex, but like it's still there, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude, like this is the society that we were living in. This is the foundation this country is built on. Is like, but sex is illegal. Blowies are illegal.
You're telling me blowies are illegal now? Yeah.
Throw me in jail.
Throw me in fucking jail, dude. Anyway, well, that's sodomy for you.
Finn, that's sodomy.
That's Finn, yeah. We're going to take another little break. I'm going to rock a piss. And then we're going to jump into my article.
I can't wait.
Break. Fucking cock and balls, dude.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And you're brave to say it.
That's what I think. And cock and ball torture, that exists.
All right, Miss Frizzle, I'm finna make a lo-fi EP. Have you seen that video? And it's like Carl from Jimmy Neutron, and he's talking about no cock and ball torture in my class.
Jimmy's mom.
And
I respect it, dude. I respect Carl Weezer's hustle.
Honestly, fair.
To fuck Jimmy's mom.
So fair. She had a dumpy on her.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. Hear me out, Jimmy's mom.
Hear me out, Jimmy's
It's not even a hear me out. We all agree.
It's just like we all want to fuck Jimmy's mom.
Yeah, we get it. But like, again,
I love that was like a central plot point of the show, is that Carl wanted to fuck Jimmy's mom.
Yeah, I love that
That's
it was
so funny.
known in the show
it's
lore
canonical.
that Carl Weezer.
Like every episode, Carl's like, your mom.
Will your mom be there? Yeah. Oh God, it's so good. What a show.
What a fucking show, Jimmy Neutron.
Bowling for Soup. Yet again.
Oh.
Banger intro.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. They really you know what? They were like, we did this for the kids.
Yeah, they really did. Because they did that in Phineas and Ferb.
They did the Phineas and Ferb
It was
one as
Simple
well.
Plan that did fucking What's New Scooby-Doo, however.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True. I have to give a quick shout out to my injectioners because, as you all know, or I've probably talked about it on the podcast because I'm obsessed, in the past I have gone to Brooke at Modern SLC Injections for my lips, and I love them, but I got a really sweet deal from our sweet friend Aubrey. Mm-hmm. She works at Blue Lily Med Spa, and she had a friend who needed to do a training who's an injectioner, and her name is Ashley. And so I got to go in today and be a part of this training and be a model for cheek and lip filler injections. And let me tell you, Ashley did an incredible job. She's newer to the practice, but she's amazing. So if you need some beautiful injections done, you will not regret. It was virtually pain-free. She was so confident. Felt comfortable with her. She did a fucking fantastic job with me. So if you need some injections done, go see my girl Ashley at Blue Lily Med Spa, or go see my girl Brooke at Modern SLC.
Hell yeah. I was actually going to say, I noticed your lips were looking plump.
Thank you. Yes, they're fresh.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, if I turn to the side, don't you feel like these cheekbones could cut glass?
Your cheekbones are cheek-boning.
Right?
Cheek-boning right now.
Like, I had never done, all I had ever done.
Call the police for the sodomy laws. Those cheeks are boning. But no, they look great.
That's really good. Yeah, all I had ever done cosmetically on my face before was just my lips, but I'm like, I feel literally so cunty with the cheeks done.
So clit.
My friend Katie, I feel so clit right now. I forgot we were doing that.
Yeah, we're
making
clit.
So clit. My friend Katie had done her cheeks and they looked amazing on her, and yeah, I don't regret it at all. It looks amazing. So anyway, if you want to support a new injectioner out there, her name's Ashley at Blue Lily Med, or if you want to support a vet injectioner, Brooke at Modern SLC.
Woo! We love local businesses, local, I guess, entrepreneur. I don't know. What would you say? Freelance workers, I guess?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I think these guys are tied into a company, but they are, I will say, other beauty industry professionals who take their shit seriously. And, they're serious about sanitation and safety practices, just as I am when it comes to doing hair and lashes. That's something that I think is not taken as seriously as it should be often in the beauty industry. So I just want to support and shout out people in the cosmetic, beauty, etc. industry who give a fuck about what they're doing and do a good job, especially when it comes to injecting people's faces with stuff.
True. Yeah.
So anyway, either of those girlies will treat you so fucking right.
Love
and
that.
You know what? Life is short. Get the fucking lips. Get the fucking
lips.
cheeks. Get the Kybella.
Get it done.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
It exists. So take advantage.
And who's gonna stop you?
Build your confidence. Yeah. If you are feeling good about your face, but you're it would be cool if I had a little more plump or a little more cheekbone going on, or my little under chin area was a little more tight. Do it. Fucking do it. It'll make you feel good. It's good for you. Do it coming from a place of I am happy with my appearance, but I think I could use a little this, a little that, and it would make me feel that much more confident.
I agree.
Anyway, just had a great experience today. I got to be a model, and Aubrey, our sweet friend Aubrey, hooked it up. So anyway, had to shout that out.
Love that. Cute.
And I feel so cute right now.
Yeah.
So cute.
Well, you look great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, happy Pride, bitches.
Happy Pride, you guys. I love being gay.
Me too. Every year for Pride, as you know, we like to release an episode pertaining to the season, and I felt it was time to discuss something that I know you, Phoebe, have probably experienced.
Oh.
And I have as well, probably to maybe a lesser degree.
Okay.
And that's right. Today I'm taking you on a brief history of biphobia.
Oh. Yeah, I know it all too well, unfortunately. So familiar.
Buckle up, kids. It's going to be fun.
Thank God, because you know what, Taylor? This is actually a conversation we really need to have.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm being 100% drop dead serious here. And I don't want to steamroll, but there's just been some, I don't know if you're going to bring it up, so stop me if you're going to bring it up, but there's just been some conversations recently, especially with Billie Eilish, Fletcher, etc.
I have not.
Okay.
I'm not going to bring it up, but please.
I'll just briefly, but I think this might be a good way to set the stage. So Billie Eilish, who she had come out as bisexual, by the way, and sort of was low-key forced to come out as bisexual. And then, she released her album, and there was a couple of songs that were about her being with girls and enjoying being with girls. And then there was paparazzi photos taken of her with some actor guy, and they were kissing, and people are so pissed at her.
Oh, yeah.
Classic biphobia, where they're
you said you were gay.
She only came out for the clout. She only used this to like blah blah. Which I'm like, I'm sorry. In the year of our Lord 2025, you think that like coming out as bi is like
for
a clout?
clout?
You think this is like gonna promote my fucking career? Anyway, yeah, and people are like super mad at her. I don't know the Fletcher thing as much, but I'm assuming Fletcher, who also has like released a lot of songs about having sex with women and enjoying it, I think probably also like is now been seen dating a man or something. Phoebe Bridgers gets the same kind of hate, like, but specifically recently there's been a lot of like, poor fucking Billy, dude, like she's just trying to exist and didn't even like, these were like non-consensual paparazzi photos taken of her like kissing this guy, and people are like, oh, so she's not actually into women. And it's like, so that's what bisexual means. Is you like them all.
Refresh ourselves on what bisexual actually means.
So this is relevant, especially to me, because I was real fired up about it the other day.
Yeah.
So tell us, Taylor, because I'm ready. I'm locked in and loaded.
Let's go,
on this.
and we'll touch on it. I don't have any like specific examples, but more just like general stuff. But the term bisexual was initially used in 1859 as a way to describe someone who had male and female anatomy. This, of course, would later be changed to what we currently know as intersex individuals.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
The term was used again, not commonly, by an anatomist? Anatomist.
Anatomist.
That's the word.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to pronounce
Robert Bentley Todd. That's who coined it, I should say, in 1859. And then by the early 1900s, the term morphed once again and was used for an individual that displayed characteristics of men and women. Again, this term would later be changed to androgyny. It wasn't until the 1910s that the first instance of it being used to describe someone who was sexually attracted to both men and women, which again, clearly, I mean, there's more genders that exist, but we're talking 1910s here.
Exactly. They're not, it's...
The fact that they acknowledged that
we're taking what we can get back then.
The previously used meanings would also persist up until the mid to late 1900s, when it pretty much became synonymous with its third meaning, being attracted to men and women or multiple genders. Sure. At least two genders.
Wow, I never knew that. That's fascinating.
It was
what do they call it? Etymology? When it, like, history of a word? Etymology?
Etymology.
The etymology of the term bisexual. Yeah. Interesting to know.
And then in 1992, researcher Kathleen Bennett introduced the term biphobia as a way to talk about specific issues that were faced by bisexual individuals. And of course, this was coming off of the heels of like homophobia and even transphobia, I think, had been used up until that point.
I don't know if like they might not have been using the term lesbophobia. I mean, I think they probably were just using homophobia to describe both at the time.
I would presume.
I would imagine.
Because I don't even think that lesbophobia is that common these days.
Yeah. It is kind of more rare. I feel like it is just used like homophobia to kind of blanket.
Yeah. I separated my article into two main parts, and part one is for the boys.
All right. I love this.
Regardless of gender, bisexuals have faced erasure and bi denial for pretty much their entire existence. I'd like to be clear up front, though, that we will be talking about specific instances of like hostility towards bi people from the overarching gay community.
Okay.
However, homosexuals in general have been much more accepting of bi people than straight people.
Yeah,
of course.
Like, of course.
I don't want it to come across that like, oh, the gay community hates, all of them hate bi people. No, it's like clearly the gays were always more for bi people than
as they would be,
the general public.
Well, but it's worth talking about. I mean, to like tie it into kind of the end of what I was saying, where it's like we really just need to like fully be in community here, where like, I mean, I personally, and I'm sure you personally have felt it, where you feel this ousting by what I feel I should be in community with, people I should be in community with who like don't want me because I'm this weird in-between thing, or so to speak, you know what I mean? So this is worth talking about, but that's a good caveat to have, which like, yes, of course, have I felt more accepted by the gay community in my life than I have by other straight people? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But we're talking about solidarity here. The
True.
point is, anyway, I feel like I'm speaking over you.
No.
But the point to be made by Taylor, I think, is like our community needs to come together and have some fucking solidarity.
Exactly. Solidarity, and again, generally speaking, throughout history, like you had a better, I guess as a bi person, you had a better chance with the gays than you did with the straights.
Certainly.
If we're talking your two camps, I suppose. But as a bisexual man, I can confirm from personal experience that many people do not think that bisexual men exist.
Yeah.
It seems there's a pretty strongly held belief by some that women can be bisexual, but men are always assumed to be gay.
It's so true.
Yeah. Others view it as a stepping stone. A lot of the time, they're like, "Oh, well, you came out as bi. You don't.
We're waiting
for you to just come out as gay."
Classic.
It's interesting too because, as we'll talk about later on, there's kind of the adverse of that, where like there are people who have come out as gay and then are like, "Well, I don't want to confuse everyone by then coming out as bi later on." You know?
Or they receive. This is something else that's relevant in the culture recently, because I've just been seeing things with this recently where people will come out as like gay or lesbian or whatever, and then sort of come. Jojo Siwa, that was the other one that is a recent one where it's like they, through just, I don't know, experience and discovering, realize, oh, actually, I don't think I am, 100% one way or the other. I think I'm actually a little more fluid than I thought that I was. And they receive a ton of hate.
Oh, yeah. People were ripping that photo of JoJo, like, to shreds.
At JoJo Siwa.
It's not that serious, guys.
I'm like, I think we can be mad that she cheated on her partner. That's not cool. But, like, let's not be mad that she's, like, queer and not just a lesbian.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For sure. In addition, it is believed that many bisexual men do come out as gay as not to confuse loved ones on what exactly their preferences are. Also, for some gay men who have less than desirable coming out experiences, many don't feel that they want to reopen the wounds by then coming out as bisexual and kind of just learn to deny that part of themselves.
Sure.
In the same way that, like, bisexual can theoretically live a long and happy life, never address the gay part of them.
Exactly.
You could live a long and gay life and never address the bisexual
part
of you, right?
For sure.
Or the straight part of you, quote unquote.
Sure, so to speak,
yeah.
right.
However, bisexual.org in a recent column, or semi-recent column, cited a study that found that 20.7% of straight identified men reported watching gay porn, and 7.5% reported having sex with a man in the last 6 months. And again, I don't know what kind of sample size they were using, but 7.5 of these 20.7% of men that watched gay porn were like, yeah, I fuck dudes, but like I'm straight.
Right. So sweetheart, I have news for you.
I have things to talk about with you.
I have news for you, darling.
Among gay men, 55%.
But I get, not to giggle at that, because I understand. I get it.
Why
they feel the need to be like, no, I'm straight though.
It's actually cool though. Yeah, like I just like do it for fun.
No homo. Hashtag no homo.
Hashtag no homo. Yeah. Among gay men, 55% reported watching straight porn, but only 0.7% having had sex with a woman in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. So clearly there are more bisexual men floating around in the world that feel pressured to conform to identities of either gay or straight.
Right.
Gay male activist Carl Whitman once had this to say in his Gay Manifesto. Bisexuality is good. It is the capacity to love people of either sex. The reason so few of us are bisexual is because society made such a big stink about homosexuality that we got forced into seeing ourselves as either straight or non-straight.
Amen.
Also, many gays go turned off to the ways men are supposed to act with women and vice versa, which is pretty fucked up. Gays will begin to turn on women when, 1, it's something that we do because we want to and not because we should, and 2, when women's liberation changes the nature of heterosexual relationships. We continue to call ourselves homosexual, not bisexual, even if we do make it with the opposite sex also, because saying, oh, I'm bi is a cop-out for gay. We get told it's okay to sleep with guys as long as we sleep with women too, and that's still putting homosexuality down. We'll be gay until everyone has forgotten that it's an issue. Then we'll begin to be complete. And I think it's a very complex quote there, because I understand where it's coming from, like the pressure to be straight or non-straight, to pick a side.
Yeah, right. I mean, they say that.
Yeah, and the pressure to, like, you know, like what he's saying, where it's like, oh, it's fine to sleep with guys as long as you're also sleeping with women.
Right.
Like this kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, you can also just have bi people that exist. Like, you could fight for bi people and gay people at the same time.
Right.
And again, this is like, in his...
It's a while ago.
I think it was 1970.
Right.
And again, I get the sentiment for solidarity for all homosexual people, but I certainly see the 1970 coming out of this manifesto.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
100%.
But yeah, I don't know.
Even the term, like, homosexual, it's like we don't really use that anymore.
It's definitely less. It's like you just say gay.
Yeah.
Straight allies also seem to have beef with bisexual men. Many women report not wanting to date a bisexual man.
Right.
Mm-hmm. This, I'm sure, stems from, again, societal pressure for women to seek out masculine men, as well as preconceived notions of how bi men will act.
Well, and I think, and if I'm taking words out of your mouth, please stop me, but the AIDS crisis, I mean, remember in our bonus episode, that magazine that you had found, there was this whole article about, like, oh, your bisexual man is going to, like, give you AIDS because he's, like, fucking dudes on the side or whatever. There was, like, that was a whole huge piece of it, too. And I think that I see to this day straight women that say that they won't be with a bisexual person. I'm like, do you realize that this is, like, 1980s ass bigotry that, like, also, like, go do it because you're going to love it. I promise.
There's a... I don't know why I think of this so prominently, but there's an episode of Sex and the City where Charlotte is dating a guy who's supposedly straight, but he's like a dessert chef, and he's kind
of fruity about it.
Yeah, he's fruity about it, and he like knows all of the designer brands she's wearing and stuff, and it's like the whole episode is like, oh, he's great, like he's this like not gay man, basically, right? Like,
right.
And then like at the end of the episode, there's like a mouse that gets caught in a mouse trap at his apartment, and then they both like jump up on a chair. Go, like, yeah, they're like and then it's like, you know, fucking what's the main gal's name?
Carrie.
Carrie, yeah. Then Carrie is like, it turns out Charlotte wanted her men to be men, you know, like in her little like fucking
her little blog or whatever.
Yeah. And I think about that often because it's like, it is kind of like that where it's like there's this like, and again, I'm kind of generalizing. Obviously, there's a lot of women who are fine with it, but they like want to queen out, but then they're like, oh, but then I'm going to have like competition or like you're not going to be as like masculine as I want you to be.
I think it's like they want this like sensitive, not to say that like, oh, bisexual guys are like more sensitive and gentle, blah, 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 whatever. But it's like, you know, they want this like sensitive, gentle guy, but then when they are sensitive and gentle, they're like, you're not masculine enough. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, anyway, I've seen this. I've seen this where women straight women are like not okay with bi dudes.
I remember specifically when I was on like dating apps, I got a message once where it was like this gal who was like, we like matched.
I love
or something.
how you say gal, by the way.
I do say gal.
I think that's like such a cute little thing of you.
It just feels like
I love
woman
that you say
is
that.
Too like formal.
It
like
does feel a bit formal because you can say like dude or guy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say girl.
Exactly.
Because I'm not saying
implies child.
Because if I said boy, I would mean like a little child.
Little boy, yeah.
Guy means like you're like my age.
Dude, yeah.
Or dude is like your dude. But yeah, woman sometimes feels a bit formal, especially from anyway. I love that you say gal. I think it's cute. I think it's cute you say that.
But yeah, there's like a gal who like messaged me and was like, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen a man with bangs or something like that." And I was like, "Thanks, I suppose." Like, and then is like,
with bangs.
And then it's like I was like, "Well, I mean, we've matched. Like, let's chat or whatever." And they were like, clearly not interested in like saying anything to me other than "Wow, your bangs" or whatever.
Oh, you're fucking gay, Bo.
And I don't know if that was like like what her thought process was, but it felt a little weird to be like, you just like
cool bangs, bye.
Cool bangs, match with you for cool bangs and then dip,
right. Like, I got bangs. That one, I think it was Nick Kroll from Kroll Show. He does that little, I just know this familiar. One just because I'm a hairstylist. So there's like this little clip from that show that goes around where it's like it's Nick Kroll playing a girl, but he's like, oh, like he went through this big crisis and then he comes back and he's like, I got bangs. Anyway, if you guys know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about.
The girls who need to know now.
The girls who know now.
Yeah.
Anyway, please tell us more about biphobia.
Yeah. In fact, in 2019, a YouGov poll showed that only 28% of women express comfort in dating bi men. Another source, Dr. Ed/Zava, and again, I just got these off of articles. I don't know the reliability or the sample size.
Right.
Found that 34% of women interviewed would have or had already had sex with another woman, yet only 19% would date a bisexual person. So,
wow,
is a very kind of a double standardy type
completely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it goes again into that thing I was saying where it's like I think women have a little more permission to be fluid or whatever, and I feel like there is this piece too of women where it's like, oh, I can kiss a girl, I can hold a girl's hand, I can do XYZ with a girl. That doesn't make me gay. That doesn't make me bi. That doesn't blah blah blah. And it's like, well, I kind of don't.
I mean, it's like you want to slap boobies across your face. That's kind of
right.
Gay.
That's pretty fucking gay, girl.
Yeah. As we have discussed in one of our lovely bonus episodes, this stems all the way back to the beginning of the AIDS pandemic.
Exactly.
Bi men were villainized as being the spreader of AIDS to straight women.
Exactly.
And then, of course, to straight men by proxy. Specifically, bi men of color were targeted, with rumors being tossed around that they were hypersexual and were less likely to practice safe sex than white bi men. So, they had to throw in their racism.
Right,
as well.
They just had to put that in there.
They had to, it's like...
It's not even it doesn't even make any sense or add anything.
Not.
But they were just like, by the way, black people suck.
By the way, it's worse.
Put it in there.
Oh, God. It's like, Eden and I were talking about, recently about how there'll be an older person, who just unprompted will just throw in the race of a person.
Right, as they're telling a story.
Anyways, for no reason.
Anyway, this Mexican guy.
Yeah. This guy that I don't like, he's Persian.
Right.
Who and you're like,
right.
I didn't actually ask
that part's
or care.
Not important. That's irrelevant to the story you're telling.
That's how they were back in the 80s.
Right, exactly.
And also, they were all black.
Exactly.
Oh, God. Bisexual author and activist Robin Oakes has argued that though there are pockets of biphobia, gay men do allow for more fluidity in their circles as opposed to gay women. And I think that that's probably true. I think that there was less of a... And we'll kind of get into it when we... hit our for the girlies section. But with men, gay men specifically, I think it was more of we like to fuck guys and we're here together, thinking the big San Francisco activism and stuff.
Sure.
They were you sleep with a girl every now and again, a gal every now and again.
Right,
it's fine,
but solidarity, we're here together.
For the most part. And again, that's what Robin Oakes argues.
Right.
There are many factors that play into biphobia towards men, but to the bi kings out there, obviously we love you.
Oh.
You're valid. It doesn't matter if you are dating someone of the same sex or the opposite sex.
Or no sex at all.
Or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Or all of them all together.
Welcome. We love you.
Yeah.
We support you. You're
real.
You. Bisexuality is real, turns out.
It's true.
I'm looking at a bisexual, mostly man right now.
Yeah.
And I don't mean saying mostly man in an offensive way. I mean it in a gender affirming way, too.
Thank you. There are Now, as difficult as it can be for bi men, I personally, in my opinion, feel bisexual women have it a little bit worse, I suppose.
That's nice to say, thanks.
And, you know, there's
hard out
different
here.
struggles for, you know, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Sure.
But
Quite literally.
there's a long, sordid history of bisexual women being, again, denied, erased, and it's important to talk about.
Amen.
Being gay as any gender has held political implications, but lesbianism, especially in the earlier days of activism, held both a gay rights platform as well as a feminist platform. It wasn't just for fighting for the right to be with other women, it was also fighting for the right to not be with a man. And that, I think, has made it a little bit more intense. And again, I'm kind of going off of vibes in some of the areas too, but I think that, and we'll look at some examples, but especially back when there was a lot of lesbian activism going on, it was certainly, again, probably more intense than you were seeing from the gay men community.
Right.
Here's a quote from the Wikipedia article on biphobia. A widely studied example of lesbian-bisexual conflict within feminism was the Northampton Pride March during the years between 1989 and 1993, where many feminists involved debated over whether bisexuals should be included and whether or not bisexuality was compatible with feminism. Common lesbian feminist critiques leveled at bisexuality were that bisexuality was anti-feminist, that bisexuality was a form of false consciousness, and that bisexual women who pursue relationships with men were deluded and desperate.
Jesus.
Quotes.
Jeez.
However, tensions between the bisexual feminists and lesbian feminists have eased since the 1990s, as bisexual women have become more accepted within the feminist community. And it has eased for sure. I think, back then it was very intense. And again, I think it came...
For a reason.
It stemmed, again, a lot from not only are we fighting for our right to be with other women, but to not be with a man.
Exactly.
And I think that's
again,
a very poignant way to put it.
Yeah, I can understand where that's coming from.
These attitudes do still persist today, though. A 2018 study published in Psychology of Sexual Orientation and Gender Diversity, mouthful of a name,
sure,
claimed that the majority of lesbian and gay men view bisexual women as being more attracted to men over women, lending to the myths of bisexuality among women being attention-seeking behavior. And I mean, it's the classic.
Heard it all before.
It's the classic trope of you're bisexual, like you were saying, like Billie Eilish is bisexual for clout, or you're bisexual, but you're just straight, you just like kissing your friends,
right.
Or like whatever the case is, right?
Like
you're
probably not all that straight.
Yeah, it might be a little, might be a little gay.
I mean, but yeah, like that's. I mean, I would have never chosen this for myself. Like, I think that's just like a thing that that I know that you can relate to as well. And like when I was growing up and realizing I was bi, I was like still fucking religious. I literally was praying to stupid Jesus, like being like, please don't let this be real, because this is about to make my life so complicated and not fun, and I don't want to do it. And I would rather why can't I just like boys? Why can't I just be okay with that? But it was so unignorable and like so painful in my life that I had no choice but to like address this part of myself. Otherwise, I would have been living in a purgatory that was like painful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally painful. Like I felt sick.
The what ifs of it all, right?
I felt so sick and I felt so wrong, and I felt like there was this piece of me that was like not, I don't know, that I was like hiding away, and that I was like pretending that I was somebody I wasn't. And I was always having to like, because it was clear to me, sorry, I'm like riffing here about my experience, but it's like, it was clear to me that I was different than the other girls when I was younger, in like middle, high school, whatever, when I started really like feeling more sexual feelings. it was clear as day, and they knew it too. Like the other straight girls, they knew it too. Like they knew there was something different about me before I even knew, because goddamn, it's hard to be a fucking girl in middle school. And I could have tried to push that down for the rest of my life and felt this sick, horrible, black, dark feeling in the pit of my stomach that something's wrong and different with me that I can never figure out, and I will never be able to understand what these other like pretty girls and like cool girls get, and something's weird and wrong with me until, you know, the feeling of finally just understanding what it was and accepting it and being okay with it, the relief, the literal like pressure off my chest that I felt when I finally was like, oh, that's what this has been.
What it is.
This is why all these girls look at me like I'm weird. This is why even the boys act like I'm weird. This is why I feel the way I feel. This is why I don't feel like I fit in, or I don't, you know, this is why I do feel like I fit in other certain situations. This is why when I watch Broad City, for, you know, to be quite honest, like this was a gay awakening for me, was watching, or a bi awakening, to be 100% real about it, was watching Broad City, and Alana was a bi character, and her bisexuality was such a minor part of the show, and it was so casual and easy, and Abby, the other main character, didn't care whether Alana was dating a girl or a boy. She was just interested to know who Alana was dating at all, and I was like, oh, this is a thing that's okay and real, and you can do it. So anyway, all that to be said, not that I need to say it, but it's just like, I don't know, I'm just like, when it comes to like the community like not respecting me, I'm like, I trust that like I have suffered as well, and fought with myself, and not wanted this to be a real part of myself, and cried when I told my parents, and I came out to my parents as bi.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fun. And anyway, okay, moving on.
No, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. As another bi person, because
exactly. I mean, you know the experience firsthand as well.
It's so. I remember when I was in high school. It's so easy. It was like so easy to pretend.
Yep.
It didn't exist.
Yep.
Right? Like, it was so easy to be like, well, I mean, I'm attracted to women.
Right. So I guess I could just lean into that.
I can just do that, right? Like, and to just ignore it and ignore it and ignore it till it was like literally like burning a hole inside you.
Exactly.
Until you were like, I can't ignore it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's where it is difficult for bi people, because it's confusing. Like, you're like,
yes.
I am like everybody else, but again, there's like that one thing that's different, that one little thing that's off.
And that the other kids, I mean, if we're talking about like, you know, being younger, like the other kids know. They just know. And like, they know they can sniff out like a gay person from a mile away, but they can also detect like there's something different about you as the bisexual person. They don't fully really accept you either.
Yeah.
And there's like this, I mean, they can just, like, kids have like this like sixth sense of like knowing how to tear you apart. And being even on the spectrum of gayness at all is like, they're going to use it against you. And it doesn't make it any fucking easier.
And it's so, I remember like, you know, like trying to bro out with the dudes, right? And just being like, I don't feel like I belong here.
Exactly.
But I also didn't feel, and I guess I didn't like really like have a whole lot of like gay interactions with the gay people at that time. But like, I was like, but I don't feel like that, you know, like I don't feel like the stories I've read about like gay kids coming out.
Right,
like,
because that's not your experience. Because you're not
different.
Gay, you're bi. And yeah, and I mean, I had that whole feeling too. And I even like went so far as to like feel like, because I mean, again, listeners of the podcast will not be surprised to know that like I don't want children. I don't ever want children. I'm a pretty non-traditional person. Huge shocker there. But, like, I even convinced myself, like, maybe I could want that life. Maybe I could be okay being, like, you know, the wife with kids married to a dude living this very heterosexual life. And I, like, I tried to go down that path. And I, like, it made me I was so fucking miserable. It was so miserable.
Yeah, terrible. But back on the topic of lesbians who do not like bisexual people. Julie Bindel, a prominent lesbian feminist, has called bisexuality a, air quotes, fashionable trend due to, air quotes again, sexual hedonism.
Awesome.
She has also made tongue-in-cheek jokes calling bisexual women cat fanciers and devil worshippers. Whatever that's supposed to mean, I don't know.
Good God.
Cat fancier is a really funny term.
That's
for
pretty hilarious.
Just a lesbian in general,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, like a pussy eater.
Yeah.
That's pretty, I probably will use that personally, but
yeah, and
devil worshiper.
I'm certain that,
Excuse me?
yeah, I know. I'm certain that I'll talk about it later on, but it very much, like, the sexual hedonism comment goes back to, again, the long history. And it's part of the whole, like, AIDS talk, too, is that, like, bisexual people are insatiable and they cannot control themselves. And they will cheat on you.
These are the ones that are bringing the AIDS to the straight community.
And they will cheat on you, and they will have sex with multiple partners.
Exactly. If they need pussy and they also need
and you'll
dick,
never be enough. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which, again, is obviously not true.
And that was a part of why I didn't come out due to some stuff in my family that I'm not going to go into here, but that was a part of it, hiding my sexuality for many, many years after that type of conversation.
Yeah.
Moving on.
The gatekeeping nature of many lesbians has caused the community to lean heavily into such terms as gold star lesbian, being a reference to a lesbian who has never touched a penis, and has extended to some lesbians not wanting bi women to use reclaimed slurs like the D word, which I won't use the D word because I'm not a lesbian or a bi woman.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and I think that's like a kind of a common one you see, like. There was even some tweets in the articles of like people being like, if you're bi, you can't say this word and that, you know. And it's the same as like, you know, I'm sure it comes from the other side where it's like, if you're a bi man, you can't say the F slur, you know.
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of like, I mean, whatever. I'm not the slur police.
Yeah, I'm not the slur police. And also I'm kind of just of the mindset that's like, with like gay men specifically, like you had a dick in your ass, so you get to say it, you know.
Right. And I'm kind of like, I've literally been called the D slur before, so
true. Yeah, if it's been used to demean you, then like
somebody's literally looked at me and said that to my face. So I'm kind of like, what?
Maybe you get to say it. I don't know. Another point that technically applies to both genders, but I feel is very prominent, or more prominent among bisexual women, is there was a lot of hostility towards the option to conform to societal standards. As a bisexual woman, of course, there is a possibility that you will live a completely happy and fulfilled life marrying a man and having children. This, of course, is not something that is, you know, typically available to women who do not find men attractive, of course.
Right.
Again, this technically applies to men and women, but combined with the added societal pressure put on many women to have children and to get married, I think it comes up more often in conversations about bisexual women and lesbians.
Hi. Literally just talked about that 45 seconds ago.
Because, and again, like, obviously, again, fighting the fight of feminism alongside with lesbianism, there was for a long time, like, this kind of stereotype that, like, you're a man who's not getting married and it's like, oh, he's career focused, he's this, he's that. But like, you're a woman who gets to be in your 30s and you're not married, and everybody's like, what are you, some kind of spinster, you know? Like, what's going on with you? And it's
you're selfish for not having children.
Exactly. So then of course we have the fetishization of bisexual women. Most, if not all, bi women who have been on dating apps can tell you the joys of being asked to be a couple's unicorn.
Been there a zillion times.
I'm sure it's lovely to be asked that.
And like, don't get me wrong, being a unicorn can be super duper fun, but like, don't just assume that's what I want to do, dude.
It's the assumption of, you know, some probably gorgeous woman and her like fuck ass boyfriend.
Probably less. I mean, I actually have a very funny story to tell, if I may. So,
always.
there was this person that I knew in high school, a man. Actually, so we knew each other we had gone to school together from elementary all the way through high school. We just like went to we were in the same, like lived in the same neighborhood. So we went to the same schools all growing up. It was a couple of years after we graduated. I received a message on my Twitter, of all places, where I'm pretty like loose with my, whatever. I just like post whatever I feel like posting on there. I received a message from this man that I had gone to school with. And he was like, a little, hey, what's up? And I was like, I felt sus about it immediately, and my sister was like, give it a chance. Like, maybe this person is like, chill. You're always so, your default setting is negative, this, and the other. I was like, all right. So I messaged him back, this, and the other. Anyway, the conversation ends with he invites me to a hot tub night to drink wine with him and his girlfriend. Which I was like, okay, let's be real about this. And I was just like, to me, it felt like, I'm like, I think I'm the only bisexual person you know about, because I'm pretty open about my sexuality online. And I just was like, I think I'm like the only bisexual person you know exists. And you thought like automatically, because I'm bi, I want to fuck you and your girlfriend. And you guys are feeling spicy and you want to have a threesome. So you're like, let's call old Phoebe.
Let's call, the one bisexual person I know.
Who I haven't spoken to like
in years.
In a gazillion years.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, please.
Well, and then, I also don't think it's any secret that straight men love lesbian porn, and fantasies of taking part in such actions are very prevalent. The eroticization of bi women leads to them being viewed as sex objects and just general dehumanizing behavior towards them. And again, I mean, it's very... like you hear it all the time. I feel like from straight guys that are like, oh dude, like so hot when girls kiss, and
exactly,
oh it's so hot, like
exactly.
I can't, wish I could get in, and like it's like the threesome is like every dude's like fantasy, like, and it's very much harkens on like bisexual fetishization, but it's never like, and again it's always funny because it's like I feel like the real bisexual fetishization is like, you got some girls, you got some guys, and they're all fucking, right? Like the guys are fucking, the girls are fucking, it's everything.
Right.
And then it's like, but it's like that, it's always like two girls who will kiss a little bit, and then they just like pay attention to you the whole time.
Right. Exactly.
Like, it's almost like you just want like two straight girls who are into you.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously, again, as you were saying, bisexuals get fetishized. All this to say, some of the effects of biphobia that have been studied. Here's another excerpt from the Wikipedia article. Bisexual identified people may face disparities in harsher degrees than their gay and lesbian peers. In the U.S. particular, for example, they may face lower success rates for refugee applications, may also be the case in Canada and Australia, higher levels of intimate partner violence, higher likelihood of youth risk behavior amongst high school students, higher likelihood of anxiety and mood disorders among bisexual women and men who report having sex with both sexes, higher likelihood of living on less than $30,000 a year, lower levels of reporting feeling very accepted in the workplace, lower likelihood of being out to the important people in their lives. Bisexuals report higher rates of hypertension, poor or fair physical health, smoking, and risky drinking than heterosexuals or lesbian or / gay people. Bisexual women in relationships with monosexual partners have an increased rate of domestic violence compared to women in other demographical categories. Many, if not most, bisexual people do not come out to their healthcare providers. This means that they are getting incomplete information. Bisexual women were more likely to be current smokers and acute drinkers.
I've heard that.
Which is, again, interesting. And, again, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different sources, obviously, on the Wikipedia article for all of these things. But, yeah, I mean, it's... And it again, some of them are, like, very obvious, I think. Like, you know, you're more likely to not come out to your healthcare providers and your loved ones because again it's more confusing and it's easier just to be in the closet and I think that that lends more to like you have a higher risk of anxiety and mood disorders and just kind of general unhappiness and things like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting.
it is.
The kind of, because again, like obviously, as we kind of stated up at the top, like not to diminish the struggles and
Of course.
the complications that people who are gay just have coming out or their kind of journeys, I suppose, but it is a unique experience coming out as bisexual.
Oh, I think so for sure.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of like in my early, or earlier, I guess, days of when I was coming out as bi from like being perceived as straight, I think, where it was like mostly, thank God, I had a good life and I was accepted and all that, but I did have like, some pieces of when I was coming out where people were like not believing me or not understanding me or not wanting to accept me, etc., etc.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because, and I mean, again, it's like it's the age-old trope of like you're bi as a woman, you're assumed to be straight. You're bi as a man, you're assumed to be gay.
Exactly.
And yeah, like I never had any issues with people not believing that I was gay.
Yep.
But I had issues with people thinking that I was actually bi.
And I had the exact same opposite experience where like people were like, well, yeah, you've dated dudes, like obviously like you like dudes, but blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do I need to like lay down and eat a pussy in front of you?
Yeah, like what do you want me to do?
How
to
can I
prove
prove this?
And what's interesting is like people thought that, and like I had dated women like predominantly for the most of my life, but they were like, hey, you're gay, I don't know.
Right? Yeah, it's just like, oh, well, you've been in the closet. I know, it's so whatever. We just talked about it, but
it's bonkers.
It's so irritating, and it's so like it just puts you in this middling space where you're like, I don't feel like I can really settle into either community. Not that I want to settle into the straight community at all, but like, yeah, you feel like you can't like settle into a space where you don't feel accepted or you don't feel like comfy.
Yeah, or again, you feel that like weird guilt of like, oh, like to me, I can just go and like marry a woman and it's fine.
And I can pretend I'm straight for the rest of my life, even though like, it's not how it is, because obviously, as you and I both talked about this episode, it's like it literally is like eating away at you and like causing major problems in your life. But yeah, I mean, there's that piece of like, yes, I could be straight passing and I could get away with like being safe enough, so to speak, in the eyes of like the public to a certain extent. But like, yeah, I mean, it's like I guess I could choose to just forever deny this piece of myself.
But yeah,
and
like
then
at what
and
cost?
Then what? At what cost? At the cost of like my entire mental health.
Yeah, and at the cost of like not being who you really are, like
right. Which I'm like, at this point in our society, I think we deserve that.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's
basic human right, I would say.
The bars on the floor, like
right,
to just be able to be who you are.
Yeah,
but yeah,
this is very relevant to talk about because I feel like with the JoJo Siwa and the Billie Eilish of it all, like, I don't know, I just feel so bad for both of these women like receiving the vitriol that they have, where it's like they're just like existing and living their lives, and unfortunately they have to be in the public eye of whomever they're dating, and they literally, I mean, JoJo unfortunately had to discover her sexuality on national TV, which I'm sure is a real shitty way to live. And, Billie literally already was out as bi. Everybody knew. She just came out as bi, which means that you're into all the different genders. But yeah, I don't know. People are just, it's just intense. And I think especially now more than ever, like, we just need to really, really, like, can we just come together and support each other? And, like,
well, and
we need to be a solid community now more than ever.
I didn't even get into it, but there was a whole lot of, I remember it was a few years ago that the conversation has died down a little bit, but there was a whole lot of contention between like pansexual versus bisexual.
Oh, sure.
And,
of course, I remember that.
and like, you know, people were like, oh, if you're bisexual, you're saying like you're
Transphobic.
because you only like, you know, men with penises and women with vaginas
Exactly.
and this and that. And at least like most of the people that I know, like in my circle that say bisexual, they kind of mean pansexual. Like,
Right.
like it's kind of an interchangeable word for
that's how I
most
feel.
people. I feel
That's
like
how
that
I
I
feel.
interact with. I'm sure there are obviously
Right.
transphobic bisexuals, but
Sure, but it's like also at the end of the day, like the specificity of whatever label you're using is so insignificant.
yeah.
Because sexuality is so fluid typically, and also like yeah, like if I'm saying I'm bisexual, I'm probably saying that because it's easier for most of the general
Totally.
public to understand. And I, as we just spent a whole fucking episode talking about, confusing the general public makes them freak out.
Yeah, you never want to do that. No, for sure. It's always like there's like different levels, right? Like if I meet someone out in the street and they ask me my sexuality, which doesn't happen often.
Sure, but yeah, I know what you're
I'm
saying.
like, oh, I'm gay. If I like have a close acquaintance, oh, I'm bi, and it's like if I know you, I'm pan,
I'm pan.
right? Like,
Exactly.
if I know that you're gonna be
Story
like
of my
fine
life.
or like understand what I'm saying when I say pansexual, I'll say
Right.
I'm pansexual.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah,
But
so
also, to me, yeah, I think they're pretty interchangeable. Also, I
Yeah.
just think the bisexual flag is cuter.
yeah, and it's true.
I think the colors are cuter.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing, I wonder if I
Hit me.
missed it on
Hit
here,
me.
but there was a. I must have not included it, but there was like a lipstick lesbian flag that was made.
Oh.
And it's basically the lesbian flag with just like a lipstick kiss mark in the corner.
Cute.
And the reason was reading a blurb about it, and it was like, this is not widely adopted because the creator has come out and said very like negative things towards bisexuals and whatnot. Which yeah, so but there is a lipstick lesbian flag, which was kind of cunt. So maybe the
Bring
the
it
gay
back.
girls can go and claim
Reclaim.
that.
The Sapphics can reclaim
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
make it pro bi girlies.
It's interesting, and I feel like there's. I mean, I could probably just like fucking shoot the shit with you for
Same,
hours.
of course.
About,
I mean, we just have this lived
Yeah.
experience together that we've
But-
both suffered.
ton of it. Like the one thing that I left out a lot of stuff. Like Anthony from Queer Eye, I think.
Oh, yeah.
There was like weird stuff about him being bi, and people had interesting.
People were pissed about that.
Opinions on that.
Mm-hmm.
A more personal one, but there was like this gay like YouTuber that I like. He does like video essay stuff. And him being gay isn't even like that much of a
Right,
like,
it's like
channel.
not that relevant.
Yeah, but I get there was like a thing where one of the editors he hired to like edit his videos like was a trans woman, and the editor had like tweeted something saying like, oh, I wouldn't date a bi man because I don't feel like they would see me as a woman. And then he like fired her because he was like, that's biphobia. And there was like a mini controversy. Honestly, it didn't really come back on him because it is kind of biphobic to say that. But
Right.
but yeah, like there's like instances everywhere of biphobia that you can hearken to. But,
Definitely.
But again, for the sake of, I mean, we are approaching 2 hours, but for
For
the sake of somewhat brevity,
got a lot to talk about here.
yeah, there's again, you can look up just look up bi controversy, and I'm sure you could find a million and a half examples of it. And think of all the media that you've consumed that involves gay people, and how much of it talks about bi people. Mm-hmm. Like, like there's a couple of great examples, but it is just a couple,
Right, it's super rare that there's like bisexual characters that
It's
are
like-
openly bisexual, and that's like
and like dating both
a
genders.
steadfast, right? A steadfast piece of like who they are.
Yeah, like it's funny because it's like thinking of all the bisexual awakenings or moments that I've had. It's like never characters that are actually bi. It's
right,
just
like Alana is a super rare
implied.
one. Like she happened to be one for me, but like there was plenty before then
Yeah.
that were like awakening, my sexuality that
fucking
were not.
Miguel and Tulio from The Road to El Dorado. And again, like not even like that they were even like sexual at all, but fucking Mulder and Scully like watching X-Files and being like, why do I want to fuck
I like
both
both
of them?
of these
Yeah.
people.
Are they
Exactly.
both beautiful? Like
Exactly.
But again, it's like these aren't bi characters. These are just situations where the character is a little bit more ambiguous. That like
right,
you
and I'm
latch
attracted
onto.
to both
Yeah.
of them.
I know it's interesting, but
Yeah.
Anyway, Finn,
Happy Pride, you fucking beautiful.
happy Pride.
Fucking
Oh, and I said it
gay-bos.
for the boys, but obviously with the bisexual girlies, we love you here at Remarks.
Amen.
You're always welcome.
Amen. I think we have a great representation here with a fucking bisexual he, they, and a bisexual she, her.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would agree. We've had Justin on. He's gay.
yeah, it's a gay guy that we love. We had Emily,
yeah.
who's pan. She identifies
Yeah.
pan. Anyway, we love all of our fucking LGBTQ A2S plus to all the other things that are around that.
Mm-hmm.
And
We think you're valid.
you're 100% valid. And I'm not checking your queer card.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
like come to the march.
yeah, just come hang out and be in
Be
solidarity.
straight also, and just like show up.
Yeah,
and, like,
you know,
it's
it's
chill. Like
be there, fuck whoever you want, and just
Yeah.
allow other people to fuck whoever they want.
Exactly, we
right?
don't give a
And
shit
just fight for that right
at all.
that everybody
Fight for the right to people can just
Yeah.
love in the way that they want to.
in the privacy of their bedroom,
in
where
the solidarity
the state
in the
can't.
what did they call it, the like sanctity
The
of the
sanctity
bedroom
of
or
the
whatever.
bedroom, yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
yeah. And again, I think there's people who find comfort in labels. There's people who don't,
Right.
and whatever it is you are, it's like it's not really any of my business.
Same.
If you find comfort in it and want to tell me about it, I'm happy to listen. But
Right.
again, fuck whoever you want.
Yeah. Do whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. But anyway, we love y'all.
Be gay, do crime.
BJ do crime.
Love you. Thanks for listening.
Oh, plugs.
Oh shit! Right, Jesus. You can follow our Instagram at Remarks Podcast.
Twitter is at RemarksPod.
Look at go follow our Patreon. We probably gotta put a little something up there soon.
Yeah.
But we post funny stuff. We need to post another funny soon.
There's a pretty decent back catalog.
There is a great
though,
back catalog,
so-
and I have cackled at many of those episodes.
Oh yeah, they're very funny.
I think they're pretty fucking
Yeah,
funny.
I like them. My Instagram is tlace_19. Probably, I always forget which one it is. If you
Every
type
time.
in something like that, it'll probably pop up.
Yep.
Again, shout out. Look at my stories. There's some drama and
Yeah, and if you're local
things
SLC,
happening in
you
SLC,
can also
so.
find some of Taylor's local shows, which are
True.
the last one was fucking awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I had the best time of my life. My Twitter X is at Phoebe's Elise. If you want to giggle at my shit.
I was giggling at your shit because
Thanks.
I downloaded or
Yeah,
logged
you
into
got back
Twitter
on
to
there.
look at some of the updates on the protests and things, and I saw your tweets and was looking through them, and I was like,
Thanks
God
for
damn,
giggling.
Phoebe's funny.
Thanks for giggling. Is that it?
I think that's it. I guess you can leave a 5-star review on
Sure,
Apple
leave a
Podcasts
review.
if you want.
Hopefully it's 5
Yeah.
stars. Anyway, thanks for listening. Okay, love you.
Bye.